Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE News and Rumors. I'm your host, Mr. Braden Hodge. Is brought to you by SeatGeek. So if you guys are looking for tickets for any event in the entire world, does not even have to be wrestling related, go ahead and use my last name. Use code Hodge and save yourselves $20 freaking off your tickets. Now if you've already used SeatGeek before, make a new account. You can use my code anyway. Saves you $20. It's worth it. Code Hodge, ladies and gentlemen. First news story is going to be about Nia Jax. So Nia Jax has been released by the WWE, as many of us know. If we saw, they released like 18 wrestlers or something. Most of them were NXT. But they were a few main roster ones, and Nia Jax was one of them. The day after she got released, it kind of came out that one of the reasons they released a lot of these people were because these people were unvaccinated, and if you're unvaccinated, WWE doesn't really want you around. As with many companies now, they don't really want people around because they're going to have to test you like every week or something. I'm like, can they legally fire someone for not being vaccinated? Can you, like, the test is the alternative. I don't think they can actually do that. And then the actual reason they gave for all the releases is it's because it's due to budget cuts. Nia Jax actually came out on Twitter, and she has a different reasoning that maybe they released her. Is basically she asked for a mental health break. They were like, oh, okay, that's fine, take your time, Nia. Then she came back, I guess, from the mental break or whatever, and then she asked for another break, and she never heard anything back, and the last thing she heard back is that she was fired. So she thought that might have something to do with it. It may just be a budget cut thing. The vaccination thing may be contributing to a lot of these, but I don't believe personally, I don't believe it's the main reason that they're firing people. They believe there's other factors at play, but it may be one of the factors, probably a smaller one, but it may be one of the contributing factors for someone's release. I don't know. I don't make these decisions. I guess Vince makes this decision and Lauren Ice just kind of carries it out. Alright, the next story. The next story is about WrestleMania 38. So WrestleMania 38 travel packages are actually going on sale tomorrow. So if you want a travel package, get them tomorrow if you want a good seat, because it's first come first serve on those kind of the closer seats or whatever. That is if you want the travel package. Now personally, I hate the travel packages. Now if you guys saw yesterday's video, you guys know I hate the travel packages. Yesterday I did a little bit of a ranting video about why the travel packages may not be the best option. If you're curious about why they may not be the best option and what a better option is, and check out yesterday's video. It will be on the end card after this video. But yeah, WrestleMania travel packages will be going on sale tomorrow. Alright, the next news story. The next news story is about Survivor Series 2021. So this is the most random thing ever, and WWE has a habit of doing these random things. So WWE, just yesterday, a random Saturday afternoon, they decided, hey, let's go ahead and go on Twitter and announce all the Survivor Series teams that they're going to be and who's going to be in each match. So yeah, they've already done that, and we don't know who, I guess the leader is or whatever, if they're even doing the leader or the captain or whatever, but I have them here. Let's go ahead and read off this list. So we'll start off with the men's Survivor Series match. This men's Survivor Series match. On Team Raw, we have Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio. Move on to Team SmackDown. We have Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy. We have King Woods, Xavier Woods. We have Zayn, Sami Zayn, and we have Baron Corbin, Happy Corbin. So yeah, that is going to be the men's Survivor Series match. It looks pretty good, interesting. I've never been a big, huge sucker for these recent 5-on-5 matches. It's just that's whatever. It's not really the thing I'm most excited for. Usually on the Survivor Series card, I'm more excited for the main event, the championship match, than I am to see the tag team match. But just a traditional 5-on-5 match. They do it. They do tag matches. They do these 6-man tags and everything all the time, or 10-man tags. They do them all the time. They just come less and less special. If they just did these 5-on-5 matches once a year, it would feel like a big deal, but we see them every week on Raw, these big tag matches. Next up, let's move to the women's match. So the women's match, we have on Team Raw, we have Bianca Belair, we have Rhea Ripley, we have Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina. That is on Team Raw. Team SmackDown is a little bit different. So on Team SmackDown, we got Sasha Banks, we got Shayna Baszler, we got Shotzi, we got Natalya, and we have Elias. So we have some new faces in there. We haven't really seen too much on the main roster, so I'm kind of excited about that. It's just so random just to announce the giant Survivor Series traditional match just on a random Saturday on Twitter, but that's what WWE have decided to do. So that is going to be the Survivor Series teams this year. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that's actually the only confirmed news stories that I talked to you guys about today. But don't you dare go anywhere. I would go ahead and suggest for you guys, go and get your juice boxes out. Get your juice boxes ready, because ladies and gentlemen, it is now time. It is time to talk about some juicy rumors. So the first rumor is going to be about Mr. Keith Lee. So Keith Lee was another one of those released wrestlers or whatever. So basically, Keith Lee, apparently he had some attitude issues backstage. That's what this rumor is saying. He had some attitude issues. He felt like he should be higher up on the card. He was very, very frustrated. He felt like he should be WWE champion or something like that. And he didn't have a lot of potential. I just think maybe there was a lot of work to be done, and it wasn't necessarily on the shoulders of Mr. Keith Lee. It could have been very much on the writers and the creative of what we're doing with Keith Lee, and how do you write for this guy, and how do you make this guy believable, and how do you make him more entertaining and stuff like that. They just couldn't really get it right for Keith Lee. I mean, Keith Lee, understandably, was very frustrated backstage, but apparently he had a lot of attitude issues, a lot of creative ideas he was brought, he just wouldn't want to do, and it was hard to work with. And that's just what the rumors say backstage. This could be completely untrue, but I'm sure he's a nice guy or whatever. He's just very frustrated about what they were giving him, and he just wasn't the happiest man in the world, which is completely understandable. All right, the next rumor. Let's go ahead and say this about the WWE Performance Center. It's kind of about the Performance Center. It's kind of about, NXT. Basically, WWE's process of hiring people has all changed always. Now we have a bunch of rumors like jumbled into this one, so we'll just go through one at a time here. So let's say the first one is WWE. Well, this one's an old one. Weird for a while. WWE will no longer be hiring anyone over the age of 30 to be a wrestler. If you're over the age of 30, your likely chances of getting hired by the WWE are very low at this point. But luckily, there's a new game in town. There's AEW, which doesn't really care. It's kind of like freedom for wrestling, finally taken out of the prison cell. But WWE, wouldn't hire anyone over the age of 30. Well, now that's changed a little bit. So now they decided, okay, the 30 thing, we'll leave that for the men only. We'll hire men up to the age of 30, no older. But women, nah, they can't be that old. 30 is too old for a woman. Once a woman's 30, that's just their thinking. That's their thinking. But basically, they will no longer hire a woman over the age of 25. That's still very, very, very young. So 25. If you're 25 and younger, you can get something to do. If you're over 25, you're likely to get signed at very, very low unless you have a giant. Now, of course, there's exceptions to this rule. This is just for like new people they have to bring in and pretty much teach them how to be a wrestler or whatever, and kind of train them a lot. If they're like an established star, like in another wrestling company, they might break the rule for that if there's like a giant star or whatever. Now, the next part of this is about they're doing trials and evaluations and stuff like that. So basically, here's the thing. So let's say you get signed to the WWE, you're like whatever, 25, whatever, you're in, you're good. But the thing is, once you get signed, you're not signed to a contract like in previous years where you signed like a 1 or 2 year training contract or whatever. That's not the case here. The case here is you get a 60-day trial. You're there for 60 days. If you do good, you'll get a longer contract, but you get a 60-day trial contract. Every 6 months, every wrestler on the roster will get evaluated down there to see if they're improving. If you're not improving the way they think you should, every 6 months, then you're going to be fired. It's just 6-month evaluation. If you're improving, you stay. If you're not improving, you're out the doors. All right, so I guess all that's going to lead me into the final news story I'm going to talk about. So let's go and do this. This is going to be the final news story. This is the final rumor. This is the final thing I'll be talking about inside of this episode of WWE News Rumor. So this is about WWE releases. So apparently when they were releasing those 18 wrestlers, apparently there's 10 more on the cutting table that they're still considering cutting and firing that they just weren't able to do. And plus, if they released 28 wrestlers at once, could you imagine the freaking outroar on social media? So basically, here's the thing. So WWE, they want young stars. They have a real problem, and they're realizing the problem that they're only pushing, and by the time people get to the main roster, they're 35 years old. When they're in line for a championship shot or whatever. They're in their late 30s. They may be approaching 40 already. And they just don't have much of a future in the WWE. They may be able to stay there for like 5 years or something like that. At most, maybe they can stretch it way out to 10 years. And that's pretty much it for them. And WWE want a longer career for people like that. So they're really focusing on having new stars, right? Having new stars, new faces, very young people being there for the championship shots or whatever and being called up to the main roster. So we have a young roster. So one of these things that they're going to have to do to make room for these young faces that they want to bring in to sign, to actually bring them to the main roster and pretty much take over WWE, have all these young generation of people. Basically, they're going to have to fire a lot of the veteran talent. So pretty much any veteran talent that isn't used on TV right now, they want to go ahead and get rid of. So pretty much all the older talent that isn't used too heavily or they don't have giant plans for, they're going to go ahead and fire. And we're going to see this, I don't know if it's going to be this month. It could not be for a few months down the road, but you're going to see like all the people they're going to start releasing is going to be like the older stars that just don't really use that much, or they're like a very low on the card or something like that. They want to make room for young people, and it's understandable. It really, really sucks. I don't know. I want young people there, but you gotta have your stars there, and you gotta make the young people stars. And they've had a big problem with making young people stars because it's just the WWE system hasn't been working. The Performance Center hasn't really been working that well. It works for some, but I believe the ones that are really excelling, like where they need to be, they were stars in other companies before they ever even got signed to NXT. So they have a bit of a problem, and hopefully they can figure out how to give the stars more, like, you know, star power. Because they just feel like kind of normal people just kind of trying to wrestle instead of being like these mega like superstars the way they used to feel. So there you guys have. That's basically the intro of this episode of WWE News Rumors. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Right now on the screen I'm going to leave a link to 2 previous videos for you guys to check out, as well as a button to subscribe to this channel if you guys happen to be, you know, brand new here. But I am Brandon Hodge, and I will see you guys in the next video.